make a hot air balloon today. I've actually made 4 samples. The first 2 used a 10 millimeter bead. This one uses a 16 millimeter bead, and the largest one uses a 20 millimeter bead. And I'm going to use the 16 today in our example. But I'll point out, because the only difference really is the number of smaller beads, the 15-0 beads that you use to come down around the balloon. And I'll point out the difference in the numbers. Now, I've picked out 2 beads. This one came from the same package as the one that I've already created. But I'd really like to try this one because it kind of has the same markings as a hot air balloon with the pieces coming down. But if you notice, it's a slightly different shape. And that'll make a difference, may make a difference in the number of beads that I need coming down along here. I also did a 16 millimeter one prior to any of these, and I used a clear faceted bead, and I needed more of these 15-0 beads on that one than I did when I made this one. So depending upon your 16 millimeter bead, 16 millimeter does not necessarily mean in this application that you'll still use the exact same number of beads. You may have to give it a try, and if it doesn't come out just the way you want, if there's too much thread showing, or if the beads are too loose, you'll have to make some small adjustments. But I'll give you the numbers that I used when I made these 3 samples, and then you can work from there. Before we make our balloon, we have to make a basket. The basket in all of these is the same, whether you're doing a 10 millimeter bead or a 16 or a 20. You use the same size basket. The basket is the same as a cube. So if you've made a cube, it's really just an open cube and you're not putting the top on it. So we're going to start in the method that you would do to make a cube. And I'm using 11-0 Delica beads, and I've selected a fuchsia purple color to go with the balloon that I'm going to use in the next video or the next segment. So I pick up 4 of my 11-0 beads. I bring it down. I've got a number 12 needle. I'm using black 8-pound smoke thread, black or smoke, because that won't show like the white tends to. So I'm going to make my little loop, and I'm going to go back through one more time, just through the first bead. I don't need to go through all of them. So to make a square, we pick up 1 bead and go all the way around into the next, and we're going to continue until we've added 4 beads. This is the 4th one, and this is where we have to step up. So we'll add the 4th bead, and then we'll go through the next one, the next bead, to step up. Now in our next part of the pattern, we're going to add 3 beads and go into the corners. So we'll do 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go into each corner. And this is the last of the 3. So I'm going to add 3 beads. I have to go into the corner and I have to step up. So I'm going to go through this corner bead and the one right next to it. Now we're going to add 2 beads. and we're going to go into this bead. We'll skip this one and go into the next one. So we add 2 beads and go into the next one. Skip one, go into the next one. Now when you pull these down, this center bead that you skipped should pop right next to the one that's there. So that should pop into place. They're not really supposed to be sticking out. They're supposed to pop into place. Now we have to add 1 bead here. So we'll add 1. And now we add 2. And we'll skip the one sticking up and go into the next one. Get that turned around so you can see it. Okay. And untwist it. And that just popped right in. I don't know if you saw that, but it pops right in. We'll add another one. So we're coming out here. We want to add another one. Skip one, go into the next one. We're going to add 2. Skip one, go into the next one. Now the one we're skipping is the one that's up high. And we'll go into this one. And as I pull that tighter, I want to see that bead that was up high pop into place. There we go. And that one pops into place right there. So this is our last row, or our last segment of the row. So we're going to add 1 bead. And then we're going to skip this one that's up here, pick up 2, and go through the next one. And straighten that up and pull on it a little bit. That should pop into place. There we go. There we go. Now, this is the last bead of this row, and this is the step up. So we're going to put the bead in here, but we have to step up to this particular bead. So I'm going to do that in one step. I'm going to add 1, and then I'm going to step up. So I'm going through 2 beads. Now I'm going slowly here because I'm going to go around and I'm going to add another row. And the step up in the next row is very difficult to see. So I'm going to count. So when I do these, I count. And that way I know where my step up is going to be. So your work should look like this. Should be a square. So we're going to add 1 bead now. Now, if you're making a bigger square, you would add another 2. And the typical cubes have at least 1 more row, but we want this to be small because it's a basket. So we're just going to add 1 bead. This is going to be the corner. So we'll add 1. And now we're going to go down through here. This is the second one. So this is bead number 2. And then this is bead number 3. And that completes this side. So I'm going to count these down. So it's going to be 1 for the corner, and then 2 in the center, and 3 in the center, 3 towards the end, and now we do the end bead. We start again at 1. So we've done 2 sides. This is our third side. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to do the last side. So this is 1, get the tail out of the way, 2, and this is number 3. Now the reason I wanted to do this, and I'm going to do just number 3, is after number 3 there's a step up. So remember, every time we finish our entire row around, we have to step up. Well, this is not obvious. So you need to go through the next bead. That's your step up right there. And that is frequently missed. That's why I count. Because if you just go around, you don't see it. It's not as visual as when the step up is in the center of the side. All right, so we're going to go around again, and we're going to do 3. And we're just going to keep going around and around as we build this up. We don't have to add any more beads, and we don't have to take any more away. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to get rid of this tail in a minute as soon as we get around this row. So we're going to do another. And as you're doing this, right about now, maybe the next row, you'll see that this is going to start to curl, which is what you want it to do to make the basket. So this is number 2. And then this will be 1, row number 3, or side number 3, 2, 3, and this is side number 4. And again, it's going to be difficult to see the step up. So you want to do 1. Make sure that that doesn't catch. Make sure that the thread doesn't catch on these beads too as you go around. 2, 3, and I'm pulling a little tighter so you can see it start to curve. Now, the next, we got to do a step up before we can put another one on. If you put another one on, you'll have an extra bead in here. So we step up. Step up. All right, now we start again with side 1. So we're going to do 1, 2. Now your next one is actually going to be this one. It's not the corner, it's going to be the one right over 3. Now this is going to, your start and end, it's going to move a little bit as you go around. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that was side number 2. We're going to have 1, 2, and again around the corner is number 3, and we have one more side, and that's going to be 1, 2. Now these step ups get a little more obvious at this point because I just want to pull that tight, because this is the 3rd bead, so the last bead of the row, which is going to go in here, and you can see the step up right here. It's right next to it. So from this point on, they're fairly easy to see, and we're going to go up to number 3. And that's the 4th side. And it's starting to come into shape. Now, I'm going to get rid of this tail thread because we don't need it anymore. And the easiest way to get rid of this, and I think I'll take a short needle. First I'm going to press this with my pliers so I can flatten it, and I'll be able to get the needle in a little bit easier. And I'm going to take my short needle. Now, thread this. All right. All I want to do at this point is get rid of this. So this is coming out, this bead, so I'm going to come up. You just have to wait a little bit to build the bottom of this. So I'm just going to go diagonally up these beads. And then I'm just going to clip this. If you prefer, you can go around a set of beads, but this should be sufficient. All right, so we got rid of our tail, and we're going to continue around now. I'm going to pull this a little tight, and I'm going to continue counting. I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to have you continue. So this will be 1, 2, 3, and watch the thread doesn't loop like that. 1, 2, 3, 1, second, okay, 3, and we should have one more side. Yep, so I'll have this side 1, 2. All right, and again, you can see that you're going to go into this bead and then step up here. So that they're fairly obvious. Now, rather than watch me do this, because you can certainly continue on your own, what I'm going to do is we need to build, we take a look from the corner, so we're going to come out from the center of the bottom of our work, going across. This is the corner, and I've built up 2 rows. Actually, it's double that, it's 4 rows, but I've got 2 corner beads. I need to have 5 corner beads, and then we're going to put 1 more row on after the 5 corner beads and finish off the basket. So what I will do is I will go around. I won't record every row, but I'll stop and show you where the step up is, and then we'll do the next. I'll do the next row, and you can do it, and I'll stop for the step ups. So let's start on the next row going around. They get a little bit easier to hold on to when they get a little bigger. So we've come around on this row, and our step up is going to be right here in the middle of the side. So I'm going to pick up a bead, and I'm going to go through. Sometimes you can see it better from the outside rather than the inside, so I'm going to go through and come around. Now, when I did this particular row, we added another one of these beads along the corner. That you only add along the corner every other row. So now when we go around, we're going to be putting beads on either side of this, so we're not really adding one of these. So you've really got to go around twice in order to add another row with the corner bead. So let's continue. All right, my step up is still in the center of the one side. So it's right here. We're going to have to pick up a bead and go through. So pick up a bead and then step up. Now you'll notice, as I said, we filled in, but we didn't add any height on the corner, so we still have 3 beads. When we go around the next time, we'll have 4, and then we'll go around, you'll fill in, and then you'll have 1 more time and have 5. So let's do that. Let's keep going around. All right, we have our basket now with our 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is actually 10 rows because you have the one in between. We need to add 1 more row. So we just need to go around 1 more time. So we're going to go through and do what we've been doing. All right, we've reached our step up right here. So this is our last bead for the row. And we're going to go through the one bead. Now we don't have to step up because we're not going to make any more rows. So you don't need to go through this next one. But what you do need to do now is we're going to start putting the little border around here, which is going to be the second row. So we're going to go, actually we do want to go through this step up bead because we want to get to the next one. We don't get to the one on the other side, which is right here. So we're going to go through this bead, the lower of the beads, and then we're going to add another bead on the outside. So we're going to find the next bead below. So it's every other bead, and these are going to stick out and they're going to sit right next to the ones that are a little bit higher. So as we go around, now we're making the lip of the basket. So we're going to go through every other bead, and that bead that you're adding is going to sit next to the higher one of the row. So when I put the next one in, it's going to sit right next to this bead right here. So we're going to go through and it'll sit next to this bead right here. And we're going to continue going all the way around and just going through the second. I didn't put that in. You just want to go through the second bead. That went through the wrong one. I needed to go through this one. So I'm going to back out. And I'm leaving this in so that you're careful and you don't do the same thing. I just went from this bead over here. I went down and I really should have gone over one. So let's come back out. And instead of going through this one, I have to go through this one. So you have to be careful when you go through to make sure that you're staying on the same row. When I did that, I kind of dropped down one. The same row as the others. So we want to go across. There we go. Oops, go through only one bead. And you can kind of pull these snug because that'll provide support for the basket. Come across. We just have a couple more. So we need to go through this one. And now here. And let's see, do we have another one? Yes, we have one more. So we pick this up and we need to go through this one. And we have one right here. So this makes the nice little rim. So you've got this nice little rim and finished edge around your basket. Now the last thing we have to do is just finish off this edge. So to do that, I'm going to go diagonally, next bead in front, but diagonally down. And I'm going to go down a couple. Let's see, we'll go down 3. And I'm just going to go through the bead next to it in reverse direction, and then go back through the same bead, reversing direction. This kind of locks, you don't have to make a knot. This kind of locks your thread so that it's not going to unravel. And I'm going to go down about 3 or 4 from the next diagonal up and across. Yeah, there we go, until we get to the bottom. And I'm going to give a nice pull, and we'll cut the thread. And now we've made our basket. And the next thing we need to do is to make our balloon, and then we'll attach it.